I had a thought about what my channel was really about, what the point of it really is. And when I narrowed down what the essence of it was, it's truthfully to motivate and hopefully inspire as many people as possible to realize the truth that everything is God, and our purpose, our primary purpose as human beings, is to realize God. Now, there may be secondary purposes like experience life, and there's different sections or different interests in life and different points and purposes to life. But the primary purpose, the thing that stands above everything else, is the realization of the divine. And ultimately, with that, the realization of yourself as being divine. And I think that I've noticed that within the spiritual space, that has become lost, or at least is at risk of becoming lost. And I think the reason for that is that we're kind of seeking more. I think within the spiritual space, I've noticed that people are often seeking more. The new information, the new knowledge about aliens, about different planes, about all of these different topics that, as interesting as they may be, as fascinating as they may be, and as genuine also as they may be, they can sidetrack us and take us off of the primary path and away from our primary purpose. If you're someone who considers themselves a spiritual seeker, if you're someone that wants to know truth, then you are someone that is trying to find the divine or God. Whether you call it that, whether you like that, that is the primary purpose and motive of every human being, or at least that's what we're aspiring towards. And I want this channel, to be a place for those of you who are looking for help with that process and guidance with that process, to have a place where you can learn the tools, learn the ways of looking at things, your state of mind, everything that comes together and is needed for that journey, for that realization to take place, the deepening of that realization to take place. This channel is hopefully a hub for that, and for those of you who are of that same opinion, that same mindset. I remember my teacher once said to me, he said, "When you can see the entire universe in a grain of sand, you will have found me." And it took me a few years to really understand what he meant by that. And what he did mean was that when you're at a state where all you see is God, where there is no duality, where there is absolutely nothing that is separate from God, when you're at that state, you will have realized God, which means that you identify as being the divine. It means that everything that you're experiencing you're experiencing it beyond Maya, i.e. beyond the illusion that our mind creates. And so when you can look at a grain of sand and see the very essence of the universe, i.e. the divine, the light that makes up everything, then you will have reached realization. And I think it's an inspiring thing to think about, or at least I found it quite inspiring. But it also gives us something to work towards. It shows us that we've still got work to do if we're still looking at things and seeing things as being separate, experiencing me and this microphone. In truth, they both just are. They're not. There's no such thing as a body or a microphone. They're labels that our human mind and our society is attached to them. But in truth, they just are. And beyond that, they are God. The essence of everything is the divine. There's nothing that's not. But to know it, and to experientially know it, to theoretically know it and experientially know it, are two different things. And it's that transition that us spiritual seekers are working towards. The transition of, I know because realized beings and divine beings have come down and told us this truth, that everything is actually God. There's nothing that's not. It all looks like they all look like material objects, but actually the fundamental essence of it all is the divine light. There are divine beings and realized souls who have taught us these truths, and we have to to some extent have faith, because faith is the bridge between not knowing and knowing. And we have to then embark on this journey, which we call the spiritual journey, to take ourselves from ignorance into knowledge, from not knowing who we are, or maybe just understanding it theoretically, into actually the experience of looking at a grain of sand, as my teacher put it, and seeing the entire universe within it, because the essence of the entire universe is contained within that grain of sand. There's nothing separate from the universe. There's nothing different between the entire universe and that grain of sand. The divine essence has created all of it. It's all a manifestation of that same one divine source. So this is our, at least from my perspective and how I teach and how I see things, this is our purpose as human beings, as spiritual seekers. I consider everyone a spiritual seeker. I think some people are just knowingly spiritual seekers. They're active spiritual seekers. They're doing it consciously. And other people, and this is not wrong, but they're just at a point in their soul's development where they're progressing spiritually, but they're not conscious of it yet. They're not aware of that part of themselves yet. And that's fine. We're all at a different stage. But I suppose the crux of this video today is that, and I'm really sharing this kind of laid back video as if my younger self was watching it, and I'm talking and providing the lessons or the insights, the information that I believe if I didn't have a teacher, my younger self would have needed to hear in order to progress. So the crux of the video, and the crux really of the whole spiritual path, and basically it sounds pretty drastic, but of life, is that we are working towards finding or realizing the divine. That's all there is to it. And the beauty of that simplicity is that you can then look at the practices that you're doing spiritually, or the things that are interesting you spiritually, and be like, are those things taking me closer to the realization of the divine, or are those just intellectual interests, or are those things that prop up my ego in some way, or allow me to develop, or sort of gives me some desire that isn't active. It isn't me working towards this realization. With this, we've got direction now. You know, this video, hopefully, if you may be listening to this video and you may have not been clear on what your spiritual direction is. You might know I've got a spiritual side to me. I believe I'm a spirit or a soul or something like that. And I'm on a spiritual journey. This is all for experience. I know that when I die, I'm going to be letting go of this body. The body isn't me. But you might not have necessarily had the clarity, and you may well have, by the way, I'm not talking down to you, but some people may also not have understood that the whole purpose of the spiritual work, of the spiritual life and of our journey is to return to what we already are, which is God. But we're not there experientially. That's the difference. So I hope the video has been helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to join my online school for meditation and spirituality, I'll leave a link down in the description. We are 400 plus strong members now, and it's just an amazing community of spiritual people, spiritual seekers who are all working towards truth. And it's a great place to be. So if you want to join us, feel free. Failing that, I'll see you on the next video. Thanks a lot.